I am selling my Pugmill because I just bought myself a new VPN 9 um, Peter Pugger. So this one is an older one. It's like 30 years old, and it still works fine. So I'm going to show you how I pug my clay, and if anybody's interested who's local, they can contact me. Here we go. I will give it a wipe down. It's got covered in clay, but it works great. So I still have the vacuum pump for it, but I never use it. But and that works. I turned it on. It's actually working. But it's just a very straightforward. It's a Venco Pugmill, um, and and I just felt like when I got it, it took too long to pump the clay through with the screen in and the vacuum pump on, so I took that out and I've been using it for 30 years without. I use it about 3, sometimes 4 times a year, so it gets used about 12 hours a year. It saves a lot of wedging. Alright, so turn it on, throw your clay in, press the lever down, put another piece of clay in, press the lever down. And eventually it starts coming out the other end. And I mix all my clays together. I don't bother keeping them separate. I never have to worry about washing it out. But the vacuum is there. If you want to attach it, clean it up, and use it, it's fine. I just felt like it pugs a lot faster without it. I'm throwing in about 2 pound, 2.5 pound lumps of clay each time. And I run the clay through usually 3 times to get it really consistent, but it comes out pretty fast, as you can see. That all just came out. I chopped the clay up, but you could also get a big piece like this and just hold it like that. Push it through. I like to chop it up because I don't, I'm recycling clay, so it might have sponges in it. So when I'm chopping it, I can see that if there's a sponge there, the wire will feel it. I've even found metal ribs in there in my recycling. But when I used to teach pottery classes, they would lose tools all the time. Everybody's rushing to get home, basically. So, I don't know how many pounds there's, probably 12 pounds came out almost instantly. And this is some dark red clay. A bit of stone by temperature. So I will put that through as I put the other stuff through. So each time I do my pugging, I probably pug about 300 to 400 pounds of clay. And it takes me a couple of hours to do that because I'm running it through 3 times. Put some more red in there now. That way you can alternate if you've got any dark red clay that would affect colour of your clay, you can just put a piece in every so often and then throw in your other stuff. That one got a bit long. So this saves you a huge amount of labour. I don't wedge clay. I just use the Pugmill. I think you get the idea. It's a working Pugmill. This is what the clay looks like when it goes into the Pugmill. So it's a mixture of everything that I use. Let's see what it comes out like. Okay, this is what I ran it through the first time. So I've got a whole pile of it, and it's pretty good consistency the first time through, but the more times you run it through, the nicer it gets. So I do 3 times. That's what it looks like having gone through once. So I do it, 3 times. I would definitely do it twice, but 3 times is what I'd recommend. The second run through is a lot easier because I simply chop. I've got 5 logs on top of each other here. I chop them into little pieces, throw it in, and just continue to do that non-stop. And I take a piece from a different log each time, so I'm actually helping mix the clay myself because I've got 5 on top of each other, and it's easy to take a log from the top, the next one down, the next one down, so on, so you're getting a different batch kind of thing each time. And you can see the logs are actually pretty good. And of course, if you wanted to do a gritty clay, you could start throwing some grog in the clay at this point, and it would get mixed in evenly. But my speckled clay is in here, and that's got grog anyway. And this is a 220 or 240 volt machine, so it's got a lot of power. I just finished the second run through. I'm going to show you. Let's do a few cuts just so you can see. See, I don't leave it at this point, but I do a third run through. But that's what it looks like at this point. There's some bits of grit in there by the look of it. I don't have a screen in there, remember I took it out. I still have the screen, but I would recommend not using it. The clay has got a little grit in it, that's all. But that's pretty good even second. I'm going to run it through again anyway. So what I'm doing to run it through is I cut down. That's why this harp, I've shown it in my other videos, is used all the time in my studio. I think somebody's actually doing these in America now. But this was from England years ago. And then all I do is I take one from there, bang it in, and the next one down. So I'm helping it even the consistency out from log to log by taking from 5 different logs. And each one of these is about 2 to 2.5 pounds. And it just keeps on squeezing. And it's lost too much of that one. There you go. This one is still probably only through twice. Because there's a whole pile in here. So I always let the one and maybe a bit of another log come out, and then I know it's the third batch at that point. So then I keep doing it. So I'll time myself. 4:55 now. I started at 3 o'clock, but I had to go over to the gallery. I had some good sales this afternoon, so I was there for about 45 minutes, with customers. So I've been going for about 2 hours, but I had 45 minutes with those customers. So I'm putting 2 pounds in here to 2.5 pounds every 10 seconds. So you can work it out how much I'm putting through the machine. And you forget about the log coming out. So I think you can probably time me doing this, and you can see how far. I don't know. My guess is it's probably several hundred pounds an hour. And there's a good reason why I have a sponge here. I just felt it. I think it's a sponge. Yep, there's a bit of a sponge there. So that's why it's good to put it through a third time. Yep, it is a sponge. It's broken apart. But you can feel it, and I would feel it if I was throwing it. That's it, it's all gone now. So that's why using the harp like this is a really good thing to use, because you can actually catch things. Like I said, I've caught metal ribs, plastic ribs. When I taught classes, we'd find all sorts in there. Here you go. That's all of the clay. So running the last little bit to empty it. It's not coming out much at all, so I think we've got, this is done, I suppose. And I usually just kind of scrape the clay around here off, push it down, turn it off first. You turn it off and then scrape the clay, clean up this little bit here, push that through just to make sure. But that was 4:55, 5:18. Oh wow, that's 23 minutes. So I just did a lot of clay in 23 minutes. I will weigh the clay and see how much I've done. This piece is 10 pounds. And I've got a stick that I can measure the rest and see how much we got. Okay, there's 215 pounds of clay I just did. And that was done in 28 minutes to get that much through the Pugmill. So I'm just going to show you quality of the clay. Ooh. So what did we get? Where's the camera in here? There you go. Is that a piece of grit going down there? There's a piece of grit in the clay. That looks pretty consistent, no discoloration. That's the other side of that cut. There's the other side of this cut. There's a piece of grit there as well, dragging through. I have cat fur that finds its way into my clay, even though my cat did die almost a year ago now. But it's still finding his cat fur in the clay. But all right, so that's my Pugmill. It's an old model, late 80s, early 90s. I think it was the late 80s. It could be in the early 90s when I bought it. So it's 30 years old, plus, I guess. And it's great. I mean, it's Venco. I mean, it was meant to, and I only use it hour through 2, 3, 4, probably 12 to 15 hours a year, because and I just don't plug that much clay. I bought a Peter Pugger VP9, which, but like I said, I just paid over $6,000 for it, plus shipping, plus tax. It's going to be like almost an $8,000 Pugmill. So, this one, make me an offer that I can't refuse. All right. Thanks very much. All right.